Well-Being podcast, sponsored by Bridge to Success Educational Group. I'm your host, Elham Rouhani, and I am here to bring you creative ideas you can realize in your everyday life. Today, we will discuss a few nuggets and questions posed during the Healthy Dating and How to Find Your Marriage Partner webinar offered by Mrs. Mahshid Payan, a licensed marriage and family therapist. The first question for our presenter is, how do we discuss any mental health issues such as depression during dating, and what kind of support can we expect from our partner? Great question.
The kind of support depends on the strength and the length of the relationship and how healthy the relationship is. The healthier the relationship, the stronger the relationship, the more support there is to give us. Day one, there is nothing to give us. But ideally, after we get to know somebody, let's say after 10 dates, first of all, somebody who has sharp eyes for these things can detect some of your energy. Is person offering at 50%? This person is slow and quiet and usually sad, or this person is hyper and bubbly and happy and jumping all over the place. With extreme examples, people can tell. But we have to be very honest about these things. And there is appropriateness with honesty. The first time I go out with somebody, I don't want to talk about my depression for 45 minutes. There has to be the right time, under the right circumstances, sharing the right pieces of information. But after a good number of dates, when I know that I'm going to see this person again, so far everything is great. I've seen them 10 times and I want to get to know them. Now I'm thinking seriously about this person. Then it's a good time to put these things on the table. Any illnesses, God forbid, anything, physical illnesses, any major things in the family, things that can be genetically handed down to people, or things that are serious, things that can concern or worry some people, it's good to go in with cards up. Hiding things and surprise, and believe it or not, a lot of people are comfortable with these things and they don't mind. But when they are hidden and they come out in the form of a surprise, they do a lot of damage to the relationship.
The subsequent inquiry posed is, how do we know if something is major or minor to be detached from in a relationship? If it is major, is it right to keep trying to work it out? Or what point do we say this is not for me? And here is Mahshid's response.
This can apply to things in the society and in life that hit us. It could be personal things from this person that hit us. At the beginning, I thought it was general, but the end of the question made it sound like it's more personal from this person. Can I tolerate this or get out? Friends, we each have different capacities and capabilities and tolerances. We can kind of assess and feel our own tolerance in every department in life, even pain tolerance, something very general and generic. But with capacity, a lot of times we don't know our own capacity. We can handle a lot more than we think we can. With difficulty, with trying, with striving, but we can. What we are talking about before we get married, before we give a commitment. There are times when two people get together, let me back up for a second. When two people get together, even if I get together with my own identical twin, there are going to be many differences. Every human being is unique and there are a lot of differences. When we are dating, we are also looking for problems, not just differences. I don't like Chinese food and this person likes it, or we both like Chinese food, doesn't make or break any relationship. But there are times when there are 10 differences and they are all acceptable and they can easily be lived with. They ask me for a qualifier at the beginning of this person's question. The qualifier is, if in the long-term picture of life, 6 months, 2 years down the line, as I mentioned, and in the greater picture of life, not just me and this wedding invitation, the bigger picture of life, if this subject doesn't make any difference, then it's useless. I call it drop it. We just drop it and move on. But things that make a difference in long picture should not be ignored. Things that are beyond my capacity, things that don't match my value system. Let's say I'm somebody who doesn't even know what alcohol tastes like versus somebody who likes to drink every day. Is that acceptable to me? Can I tolerate it? Does that value system match my value system? Or does the lifestyles match? Then it becomes an individual decision. Some people are 100% okay with it. Some people cannot live with that for one day. Then it requires a lot of soul searching. Dear friends, that's why I said at the beginning, first I study myself before I go out and study other people.
Closing out our session, here's the last question for our presenter. Are there any practical things one can do daily to know each other? Maybe like self-reflection, journaling, etc.
Any question marks that we find in studying ourselves or the other person are more important than any positives or negatives that we find when we're dating. Extremely important. Like that young lady who said, in 9 months, I haven't received one card. The card is less than $1. I'm confused. That question determined her relationship. So when we study ourselves, we do the same thing. I'm doing this. Does it mean I'm selfish, or does it mean my self-care is high? Or I don't know this, or my parents, poor things, didn't have this one to teach me. Can I learn it? Perfectly okay. I have a lot of young people who come to me. A lot of therapy is reparenting. And I'm teaching them and training them, and they are practicing in a lot of stuff that they need. So that putting yourself in the 9 categories can be a lifesaver. Of course, journaling is good if there is an end result in mind. I'm going to write this stuff to do what? What is my goal? Meditation is good, self-care is good, contemplation is good, reading is good, but be careful. We live in the world of information, and not everything that's out there is 100% accurate. So be careful with that. I study myself. See, before I have made all the necessary improvements and gone up on this scale of 0 to 100, moved up from 50 to 60 to 70, ideally out of self-love and self-care, out of interest for my future, I don't want to go out there and date. I don't want to find somebody at 50% level. I want to go to 60 and 70, so I find somebody at the 75% level. So ideally, I do the work, I do the improvements. If there are people, I observe them in groups. I mean, a couple of casual coffees or conversations, getting to know them better, nothing wrong with it. But then when I'm good and ready, I find good quality people and move on. The homework on myself will eliminate a lot of future problems because I'm not going to go out there and end up with a disaster.